Think rich, get rich. What if I told you that we're now living in a parallel universe where the tried and true methods of dealing with money will never result in wealth? Stick with me on this one. Let's get started. Welcome to KG, the Inspiration Center for Future Billionaires. You might easily spend $200,000 on college and never take a single budgeting lesson, which costs only $100 on Udemy. Consider how much money we could have saved if we had learned how to prepare your taxes 101 instead of losing countless brain cells to calculus and trigonometry. Still not convinced about the parallel universe? You shouldn't take a loan from your parents if you ever want to create your own money, I've heard a lot of people say. But the richest people on the planet have gained and leveraged intergenerational wealth. However, that strategy should not be limited to the top 1%. According to a recent research, 1 out of every 5 30-year-olds used family funds, loans or gifts to purchase their home. Make the calculations. It's time to put on your critical thinking gear and rethink everything you thought you knew about money. Critical thinking skills can assist regular individuals in solving personal finance challenges in unusual ways. According to experts from Rich and Regular and Contrarian Thinking, in order to avoid living paycheck to paycheck in today's environment, we must make some counterintuitive decisions. Here are some pointers to help you get started. 1. Purchase only what you understand. Many people are torn between the set it and forget it approach of exchange-traded funds and index funds and the thrill of day trading and stock selection. It's best to abandon rules of thumb, put your money where your mouth is, and admit what you don't know. Julian and Kirsten Saunders created Rich and Regular, a financial blog, in 2017 after noticing how many of their friends grumbled about doing everything right yet still being financially stranded. Because they recognized they would never be experts at stock selection, the young couple decided to invest entirely in index funds. They stated, "Data reveals that it is essentially impossible." They chose to dummy-proof their portfolio rather than spend the years it would have required to become knowledgeable in one area. Index funds have helped them increase their wealth and save time, which they have reinvested in their well-known firm. Contrarian Thinking's Cody Sanchez, on the other hand, chose the exact opposite approach and it paid off handsomely. Why? Because she has a thorough understanding of the market. In 2008, she joined Vanguard ETFs, followed by Goldman Sachs Alternatives, SSGA, and First Trust. She is well versed in the stock market, so it's no surprise that she has faith in her own judgment. She says, she continues put your money where your mouth is by betting on yourself and investing in things you understand. I made a good bet during a tumultuous period by applying what I learned from my early experience of investing in financial industry firms. It ended up paying off handsomely. My parents were against the idea, but I thought it was a good one. Investing in something I knew about made more sense than making a random selection. 2. Before you panic, take a breath. He who is least emotional wins, Sanchez asserts in the face of a downturn. Consider the information before making a decision. But, as we all know, saying it is simpler than doing it. The truth is that no matter how many times we're instructed not to panic, our lizard brain persuades us to act in ways that are entirely contrary to our better judgment. I was sitting at Goldman Sachs in 2008, watching colleague after colleague pack up their boxes as the firm laid off 20% of its workers in one day, Sanchez recalls. I'll never forget the expressions on their faces. We were all afraid that the world would end. Late at night, while I sat watching the news, I exclaimed that Goldman Sachs was a bad company. To go to the office, I had to walk through demonstrators. I kept my head down as they roared. Weeks of this wore me down to the point where I sought for ways to get out. I got a new job and sold everything I owned. But there was one thing I overlooked: the financial crisis was not their fault. I overlooked a golden rule: don't get trapped in the mob when everyone is running in the same direction. Get to the outskirts and take a breather. Ascend to a fictitious balcony and search for perspective. Go to the balcony first, I say now whenever I consider selling or buying an investment based on emotion. I take a step back, get out of the middle of things, and make sure it's my brain, not my cortisol, that's making the decisions. 3. Debt should be free of the devil's horns. I posed the question to our experts: what is one money rule that they utterly disregard? Julian and Kirsten claim they don't use credit cards to make purchases because they know it will lead to greater spending. Rather than vilifying all debt, they carefully considered all of the offers on the table. We prefer no annual fee cashback cards over the occasional discount or free indulgence since flexibility and cash are more important to us. When we travel on vacation, we don't want to be restricted by luxury and services that are only available through a rewards program. We want a variety of options. When I asked Sanchez the same question, she discovered that she, too, was in debt. She says, you shouldn't have leverage, but she disagrees, aka debt. Smart debt is one of the most powerful instruments a person can have. If I could go back in time and educate myself anything about money and finance, it would be to understand when to utilize my own money and when to use OPM, other people's money. A mortgage is simple, a cash-out refinance is less well known, small company loans are even less well known, and small business grants are even less well known. The world is attempting to provide money to wise, responsible individuals, she continues. But because so many of us have been taught that debt is the devil, we'll never learn how to use it to our advantage. 4. Make sure there aren't too many chefs in the kitchen. Julian Saunders was a professional chef before he became interested in money. He and Kirsten now combine the two on their YouTube channel, Money on the Table, where they discuss money issues over a home-cooked meal. He's even released an ebook to advocate healthy dining on a budget. They discuss hard matters around the dinner table, such as how the sandwich generation balances financial duties to both their children and their aging parents. Even the skilled chef set down his tongs when Kirsten's mother arrived mid-episode to assist with the cooking. And, according to the Saunders, that's how money should be as well. There are a lot of people that swear by money collaboration in the outsourcing and personal finance influencer worlds, but Kirsten and Julian warn that you have to think it through sometimes. Too many cooks can lead to a waste of time and resources that could have been better spent on achieving a company or personal goal. We don't overvalue teamwork, they explain, adding that spending time with like-minded people is crucial. Instead, the couple places a premium on knowing when to take the initiative and when to follow. 5. Don't give it too much thought. Getting money isn't easy, but it is straightforward, Sanchez believes. She explains it like this: earn as much money as you can. Salary hikes should be discussed at least once a year. Invest first, then spend. If you don't have the discipline to invest on your own, use a service like Fundrise, Wealthfront, or Betterment to do it for you. Then, buy assets that will appreciate in value, consider real estate, small businesses, and equities that provide dividends. Finally, make sure you have enough passive income to pay your costs so you don't have to worry about work. That's all there is to it. Most individuals get in their own way by overthinking things, according to the Saunderses. Having less to think about when it comes to our money makes it much easier to manage, they explain. Rather than handling dozens of individual line items, they group spending into categories. And putting together modest investing portfolios with just a few securities has yielded exceptional results. It may seem counterintuitive that slowing down is the key to progressing, but according to these experts, simplicity has a lot of value. If you like this video, make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on so you don't miss out on any future videos.